Welcome back to In the Dark, everyone. I had taken a good long, I don't know how many months hiatus here from podcasting. I just had some, personal stuff, family stuff, business stuff, a lot of stuff going on, and I just needed a break and just to kind of focus on some things. But I'm back. I've had quite a few requests, a lot of questions asked when I was coming back and this and that, and I thought it was pretty cool that, I was about ready to do some more episodes here. I'm going to start off. I had a couple other podcasts not done, but they're in the process of being edited that I had done before. I had an interview with Robin, but I wanted to come back with her to start. I just always have such a great time with Robin. And I don't know, for anybody that's coming onto the show for the first time, if you don't know who Robin Haynes McCray is, she is a woman that lives around Bigfoot, dogmen, cat people, UFO sightings. She's been abducted by ETs since she's been a small girl. So this has become a very normal thing for her. It's a very normal part of her life. And when she talks about it, it's just like, a normal occurrence for her. So a lot of times when you hear her talking, it seems kind of strange because you're like, okay, she's acting like this is just an average day. And to her it is. When you have people like the people that live on Skinwalker Ranch and, all these people out there, even myself, I've had a lifetime of living with the paranormal, especially ghosts, spirits, demons, that type of stuff, dreams, premonitions, dreams that come true, hearing whatever it is that talks to me, that tells me things, and it happens. It just becomes a normal part of your life. So that's how Robin is. She just, she spent an entire life among cryptids, and I do truly believe that there's a chance she might have been one of the people that her mother was impregnated from an ET. So just some of the details that I know about Robin, that's what seems to be the case to me. But I mean, I could be wrong, but it's just a gut feeling I have. So I did something with this episode. A lot of times when I'm listening to podcasters, you'll hear them make comments about how they get interrupted. How when they're doing podcasts that they feel that the government is, scrambling their feed, or they're, causing interference, they're dropping calls, things just get garbled. They'll record a whole session only to find it's just completely a mess. I mean, we go through a lot with this stuff, and you can't even imagine some of the stuff we go through. But I was in the process of editing this, and some of the stuff that was going on, I found myself cracking up. I was laughing and really enjoying some of it because it's become the norm for most of us podcasters that deal with anything that's governmental or, has to do with cryptids or aliens or demons or anything that has to do with Satan's world. And so as I was, listening to it and laughing, I messaged Robin and I said, I really feel that I need to not edit this podcast. And I mean, I had to edit it a little bit. Obviously, when we would get cut off, it would be several, minutes that would go by until I would get back on with her and go through all that stuff. So when you hear it, you'll hear it, it'll just kind of end in a weird place, and then you'll just hear us saying, hey, we got cut off again, kind of joking around. But I found myself enjoying it a little bit, thinking it was kind of comical, and I messaged Robin and I said, I think I'm going to add this to the podcast and let them hear just a portion of what we go through here, like the echoing voices, the dropped calls, the garbled voices. Like in some of it, you just can't edit out. There's just no way. I mean, unless you've got, such advanced editing software, and I'm still trying to figure out what software you actually need for that. So, it was either forfeit the whole or part of the podcast and just not have it on, or it was, letting you guys hear some of what we go through. And I thought I was going to do that today because, like I said, I've oftentimes just listened to a podcaster say, things have gotten messed up, or, calls got dropped, or things happened, a lot of interference with their podcasts, and I've always wondered what it was. I've been like, I wonder what was going on with them. I wonder what it sounded like. I wonder, why they couldn't, put that episode up or that part up, or, they had to redo it. So I'm going to give you a glimpse into what we go through, and I hope you don't mind this because it's just part of this, and this is part of the whole, spiel of what I want to share with you guys. This is not about having perfect sound. It's not about, always being accurate, or, worrying about sounding like you're a conspiracy theorist or any of that. This has been my journey and my walk with finding the truth and what I've gone through in order to do that. So why not share it all with you? And that's pretty much how I felt. So that's what I'm going to do today. The end part of the episode, you're going to hear a lot of echoing with Robin's voice, and I did want to cut that out, but I decided to keep it. I was going to cut it out and then just, tell you what was said, but I figured what the heck, I did cut some of it out, some of this, just the minor chit chat about, we both had, our ovens both broke at the same time for the holidays, and we both got a big kick out of that. And she did have, the government visited her, and she couldn't really get into that anyway. She couldn't talk about it, but she could only really say that much, and said she would talk, about some of it with me privately, but we really haven't gotten into that. But she just, she's had a lot of stuff happen to her. So this is just, it's become the norm, for our lives. And it's sad that all the stuff that's going on with the abductions and missing people and all the stuff that's going on is just, it's becoming the norm for everybody. It's really, we don't live in the same world that we used to live in, and it's really sad. And there's some things I want to get into later on down the line here with you about some predictions about some stuff, and the rapture and some of the near-death experiences I've been listening to, and just so much going on. There's just so much information I have in my head, and sometimes I don't even know where to begin. There's just it's just like, wow, there's just too much going on. So I'm glad to be back. I hope you guys enjoy this. And, I just, it's just hard to believe this is happening to everybody, that, people are disappearing, in all types of circumstances, every age, every walk of life, every race, every gender. I mean, it's just, people are disappearing right off their own property. So, and David Paulides has a new movie out. Make sure you catch that. If you can, try to follow him. It's real important that you get involved with listening to his work. I whether you like him, don't like him, it's still worth a listen, just to kind of stay informed and in the loop of what's going on around the world with people that are not showing back up or disappearing. So here we go, you guys.
Hey, babe.
Hi.
How are you?
Super excited to talk to you.
Oh my God, I've missed you so much. You have no idea.
I know, I do too. I feel like a kid in a candy store right now.
I know. I am telling you what, though, this is going to sound stupid, and I know it is, but I'm really shook up over this movie.
I can't believe this. So let me tell everybody what's going on real quick. So my friend Ash Hamilton is somebody I talk to quite a bit. In fact, he's a real jokester. He's so funny. I always message him, and he messages me back such, we're just smart butts together, And so he made this movie called, is it Holes in the Sky? That's it, right?
Yeah. Is it a true story?
Yeah, I have had him on the podcast, and if you look under Ash Hamilton, he's there. So this movie is winning, when I talk to him, this was like it was like months ago. He said it was like 8 awards, and now it's up to like one of the top award things that, I don't know what the level is it's gotten to, but he actually invited me to a red carpet event with him in Chicago. I think it was in Chicago. Supposed to be in the end of November, or no, I'm sorry. Let me fix it. It's end of October or September, I think it was, and I couldn't go because of my work schedule and everything. I couldn't make it, but he is just an amazing person. So Robin, you just rented the movie last night?
I never even knew the movie existed. See, this is the thing with me. And you know this, I help a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I do. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
not helping people, I'm helping the cryptids. And I am going all the time. Like I really I am. And it's just, my life is chaotic. It always is, as is
Mm-hmm.
yours. And so I miss all this stuff. I don't watch a lot of the documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because, everybody has their own opinion. Like if it's somebody I know, obviously I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, like I have the documentary out. I wasn't going to watch that.
Right.
I'm in another one, and then the one that's on just me. I wasn't going to even watch that. And a friend of mine got hold of me and said, "Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're going to watch it." So I did, but I don't. I just don't have time. And
I'm the same
my
boat. I'm the
yeah,
same boat.
and it's not that I don't care or I don't want to or that I don't want others' opinions, because I 100% do. You know me. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
this is all this huge puzzle, and we all got to come together to learn. And
Right.
so today, my son-in-law was here, and him and my daughter are staying with us, and which we are loving having them here.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to my husband, he said, "Hey, you need to watch this movie. It's called Holes in the Sky, the Sean Miller
Wow.
story." And
Wow.
Pat said, "Oh, I've never heard of it." And he said, "Oh, it's incredible." And he
Yeah.
said, "You're going to love it." He said, "You and Mom will really like it." So Pat immediately rented it, I think on Amazon. And I woke up this morning because I couldn't sleep last night. We've had a lot of activity here, ET, cryptids, all crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was awake all night last night. And he told me when I got up, Ryan suggested we get this movie. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So we had a bunch of stuff to do. And I said, let's watch the movie first. And of course, when I watch a movie, I have to watch it 3 or 4 times, because between kids, animals, phone,
Yeah.
whatever, I can never just sit through a whole movie. And so I started watching it, and I'm like, there were triggers in this movie for me,
Mm-hmm.
of things, of my abductions, of things I've learned, of things I've witnessed or experienced. And Pat said, first of all, is this true? And I said, it says it's a true story. And I kept saying, I know this man's name. Like, where have I heard this name from? Not
Mm-hmm.
remembering that it was from you, because you and I had
Yeah.
talked about him prior. In fact, if you remember, a year ago, you wanted me to meet him.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah. And we just got busy and never thought any more about it, And I said, God, that name sounds so familiar. And I said, this is so crazy because I'm having flashbacks. And we had talked about this on a previous one of your shows. I had been attacked in 2015 and I almost died. It was in intensive care. They pulled out this looked like black tar stuff out of my lungs. They
Yeah.
sent it to several labs. None of the labs knew what it was. They had no idea what it was. And
Unreal.
yeah. And so I'm watching this movie, and on this movie, Sean's brother sees this thing out in a field. He moves towards it. You can see where he goes through an electromagnetic field type thing, and then it vanishes, which is very common because they all can cloak. And they also use like a robotic type thing, and sometimes not even robotic. It just looks a hologram type thing when they
Okay.
come down like that as well. And so he turned around and he came back towards everybody, and he got violently sick and he started vomiting. What he vomited looked identical to what I got out of my lungs.
That's
And
insane.
that shook me to my core,
Yeah.
because I had several threats from Dracos that they were after me, but I didn't have any proof that this situation that had happened to me was Dracos. I assumed it was, because I knew that there had been threats made, but I had no idea. And what Pat saw, because Pat had overheard them talking that they were going to do this, and it didn't resemble a Draco. But again, I assumed that it was because of previous threats. And I looked at Pat and I said, I've got to find a way to talk to this guy. Like, I need to know if they tested that DNA. I mean, did they
Mm-hmm.
test it on what happened with it? And I was like all freaked out. And here we're just thinking we're just going to watch this movie. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. And I'm like getting all worked up about it. And he's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I'm fine, except I'm getting triggered." And
Yeah.
different things on and off through the movie, I'd be perfectly fine. And then all of a sudden my heart would start racing and I couldn't catch my breath. And I'm like, okay, this is now getting really bizarre. And I said, I'm assuming that it's true. Like, you Google search it and it says it's a true
Yeah.
story. But I also have met Travis Walton, and I know that Travis Walton's movie that is out, while it is true that this all did happen 110%, once production got into it, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Isn't that
We
quite amazing?
Yeah, I know.
As soon as we start, and I was talking about a lot of the in-depth stuff on that, and then of course that's what it did.
So you were saying that you said something about Travis Walton, and then as soon as production got into it, it must have.
Yeah, from what I understand, because I've met Travis, and super, super nice person. And what he had told me was, yes, it is a true story. He was not overly happy that, some of the things, not that they were, that they lied in the movie, because they didn't. I mean, this actually happened to him.
Mhm.
But, they rearrange things, so it looks better for the public or whatever. And so I didn't know whether or not, as far as this story, if it's legitimate, is it not? I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not, that's not a slam against Ash at all. I just didn't know. But what I did know was, as it progressed and I watched it,
Mhm.
where it wasn't my situation, that's not what my experiences were. There were parts in there that triggered mine.
Right.
And
Right.
I was getting a lot of physical responses from it as well as emotional.
That's weird.
And
Like
yeah, it really is. And
suppressed
so,
memory.
yeah. So that's why I was like, I've got to reach out. And I did send him a message on Facebook, which he'll probably never look at. And I apologize profusely. I'm like, I am so sorry to bother you, because I know you're getting lambasted with stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I thought, he's just going to think I'm another one of thousands of nutcases. I mean,
No,
really.
I don't know. Ash is pretty. I mean, I don't know how he is. I just know how, my relationship with him. I mean, he contacted me initially. So it was, we've just,
Well,
we have developed a friendship, through all of
yeah.
it.
Well, at least with you, because you know me
Mm-hmm.
and I'm credible.
Oh, yeah.
That way at least he can say, okay. And I don't want anything from him. I don't. I
Yeah.
just want to know, like, does he know anything that can be useful in this process? And I don't think that he can. And then after I watched it and found out that Sean got taken and Brett got taken, I missed the end of it.
Did you?
I finally just saw it. I was devastated.
Wow.
The treaties that were signed with our government, I mean, even before Eisenhower's treaty, stated we were always returned.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they broke all the agreements.
Well, they broke all the treaties. I don't even know I'm not even sure why they had us sign anything if they were,
it
if
was
that.
supposed to be in exchange for technology, and I'm sure a lot of other things. Like, I certainly am not an expert on it. I mean, I know what I know, but there's a lot more that I don't know. And they didn't want to be disclosed, and that was one of them, was that they were never to disclose that they exist.
But the thing is, they broke the treaty, so why even sign them to begin with? Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Sorry about my phone, guys. My phone buzzes, and I cannot turn the blasted thing off. I don't know what it is. I just can't do it. It just
So
does it.
yeah.
Bear with me, guys. I know it's a pain, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. I have to.
So I don't know. And like I said, there were bits and pieces in it, like the situation where it showed his dad, and then he kept thinking he saw his dad again, and that makes 100% sense to me, because I've experienced that so many times. It drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing of it is, I'm sure he did believe it was his dad. It wasn't. I will tell you that. It's more of a hologram, some type of robotic bioengineered thing, but they look just like them. They will look like them. They will have mannerisms similar to it. The thing is, they are horrible at duplicating voices.
I
And
know.
I've dealt with these things before. Like my grandmother, she was one of the closest people to me in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when she passed, I wanted to go with her. I'm not even going to lie. And they've used her countless times.
You mean her voice?
No, her entire body. Like,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
yeah, like I would, to see her or whatever. But they
Yeah.
can't, the vocals, I couldn't figure out why every time that I would see her, she really wasn't speaking. Or if she did, it was very short, very quick.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really see her mouth at the time. And it didn't, it wasn't a lengthy thing at all. It was very weird, kind of high pitched. It didn't
Was it
completely
like a
sound
ghost
like her.
that you saw like in the house or the forest or where was it?
Well, when it first started, it was in dream state, which we all know is as real as when you're awake.
Yeah.
And then I've had it happen, in the house once or twice too. So, I mean, this stuff is real. It's just really sad. And then, like I said, when I saw the end of it and actually saw that he lost Brett and Sean both, it was just, to me, it just
Wow.
made me cry. It really did. And that's why, I was like, I have to know for my own peace of mind, how accurate is this? And if it is, I mean, God bless his wife. Like, she's got to have so many questions and that she wants answered that she'll never get.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me is, I don't think we're ever going to get the answers we're all searching for.
Oh, no, no. And the
You
thing
know?
that I can't figure out either is they have like in the listing on it, and I don't know what, maybe I missed something. I'll have to go through and watch it a couple more times, I guess. But it says that, they found out why he was taken, but I never found out in the movie why.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I
if
haven't
it's in
seen it
there, I
yet.
didn't see it.
Ash is going to kick my butt, but I actually have not had the time to watch it yet. I keep meaning to, and then something always comes up. But now that this has happened with you, now I really want to watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
want to know what they found out as to why. I would love to know why they do to me what they do. But the thing of it too is there are so many thousands of races of these things. It's not clear and cut, I mean, I've dealt with some of them, but obviously I haven't dealt with all of them.
mm-hmm.
And, I would love to know what race this was, if they ever found out anything, but I don't know that they did because they lost Sean. And Sean would have been the one that would have been able to find out, and he's gone now. But why Sean? Of course, I don't understand why they took me. Why do they bother me all the time?
Yeah, that's another thing I've always wondered is why do they target certain people, But
And
with
I
you,
will say
I've
this.
often wondered if you've got ET, like if
Oh, I
they've
think so.
genetically done something with you.
They have. And then I woke up a few days ago. Pat and I were taking pictures of it today. And I kept telling Pat, I said, God, my arm hurts.
Mm-hmm.
My arm is killing me. It's my right arm. And it's not where, like, we have, as you know, we have a ton of dogs. And I have this golden retriever puppy that's 9 months old and weighs 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a bull in a china closet. I mean, he's just everywhere. He's the most precious thing on the planet, but he's like an elephant at all times. And I've got other dogs as well. And we go to bed at night and it's like all these dogs just pile drive on the bed. And then when Pat goes to work in the morning, it's like, oh, yay, mom's by herself. Get like
Yeah.
200 pounds of dogs on me. So I'm constantly getting stepped on, squished, pinned against the wall, whatever. But my right arm is on facing the outside of the bed. And because of my nightstand there, they can't get to that arm.
Yeah.
And I have this enormous bruise with a lump under it. You know how if you were to get an injection in your arm for a vaccine, it builds that lump up underneath of it and it
Yeah.
hurts?
Yeah.
That's what I have in my arm right now. And over the past 3 days, it's now turned black and blue. And it's huge. It's the size of a softball. I have done nothing to my arm. And it's in a place where it's up high where you would get like a vaccine. And because my nightstand is there, it would have never been hit by the nightstand. The nightstand's low enough. There's no access to it for the dogs. So where did this come from and why?
Yeah.
I know it's been really rough sleeping lately.
Mm-hmm.
Things are really, really off. We've had a lot of UFOs in the front yard. We got one on the security camera the other night. You could see the white street light that we have, like the yard floodlight out in the front. And then above it is this white glowing thing. And Pat watched it on the security camera for a while before it disappeared. And he was able to screen capture it.
Mm-hmm.
but you really can't see anything other than this giant ball of light.
That's what's so, what we see in person compared to the pictures we get. There's just, it's
It's
like
frustrating.
you wish so much you could let somebody see it from your own perspective and how you saw it in person, but you can't.
Yeah. Yeah,
These
that's
cameras,
it.
the cameras don't catch near what it, we need.
No, and God bless them, they try, but
No, I know. I
well,
mean, even when I take, I've seen so many nights I've looked at the moon and it was just gorgeous. I mean, just this beautiful moon, and I go to take a picture and you can't see crap on the. It's like you can't even capture it remotely what it looks like in person.
no. And you know what's funny is there are times, and this is so crazy, I cannot figure this out, where the moon is so bright. We'll stand on our front porch and watch it. And we've had a couple of ships that would come off in the distance that Pat and my son-in-law Ryan were out front. They were flashing them. They
Mm-hmm.
had flashlights. They were flashing, and they would imitate the flashes and flash it back. And I went out there. I said, "What in the world are you guys doing? You don't know what you're inviting, you
Yeah,
know?"
you don't.
So they stopped, and they haven't done it again. But we had another time we were out there, and I literally saw this big white glowing orb go to the moon, not away from it. It was going to it, and then
Mm-hmm.
you could see where it hit into the moon, and then you saw all these white flashes come up. What in the world that was, I have no idea.
Yeah, I was watching a clip on that not too long ago about someone they had captured some kind of explosion on the moon, like something hit it, like crashed into it, and it just
Yeah,
it was like an explosion. And then there were people, I don't know if it was astronauts or it was somebody. I'm having deja vu right now. And
yeah.
they said they had seen what, kind of like that, saying the dark side of the moon and that there was all these something was going on there. That they didn't really get
Yeah,
into
it was
detail.
crazy. Well, I
Yeah.
watched this, whatever this white thing was, I saw it going through the space and it was maneuvering. I mean, it was under the control of something. It wasn't like a
Mhm.
flare or a meteor or anything. I mean, it was doing some crazy moves and jumping all over the place. Like it wasn't just in a straight path. It was just astonishing. And of course, you've seen the UFO pictures I have.
Those UFO pictures are just incredible.
Aren't they? Yeah, they are. They're really good.
Those are
Ryan took them
most,
and they're just
yeah,
incredible.
most incredible ones I've ever one of along the top, five incredible UFO ones I've ever seen. But
Yeah,
they're
they
just amazing.
Yeah, even MUFON went nuts over him. It was crazy. Like I said, I probably wouldn't have sent him to MUFON,
Yeah,
but Ryan did, and the response was, they flipped out over him. They said it
they're
was a
really
class,
good.
yeah, they said it was a class one sighting and not terrestrial. So,
They're on my
you know,
Facebook page, guys. If you we have an In the Dark Facebook page. So
yeah.
type in the dark dogmen. Just put those words in, and then it should pop up, and then it's on there. But
So,
it's incredible. But honestly, this thing, what's really kind of piquing my interest lately is all the stuff that's coming out. Like, I'm hearing a lot of sightings about even like with the Bigfoot and stuff, how
right.
people are seeing them immersed into water, come out of water, the UFOs
Oh,
coming
yeah.
in water. I'm like, what's going
Yeah.
on with the water thing here?
Well, and I don't know all of it, but you've got under the water bases in the
Mhm.
oceans that are coming in and out of them.
They have to. They have to be.
Well, yeah, I'm over here in South Carolina, God help me, and they've got them coming in and out of the water in the Atlantic off the shore here.
Just shooting right out of the water.
Yeah, they just come right out of them.
Where are they
And
coming from?
they've got underground bases under there.
Where are
They
the
have
big
had for
but
centuries.
then what are the Bigfoot doing? Like, people are seeing Bigfoot coming out of the water like they were under there for hours,
Oh,
or
I don't know.
they
I
go
know
into
they,
the water and disappear.
yeah, that I couldn't tell you. I know they swim. They swim extremely well.
Mhm.
And I would only imagine that with the chest cavity that they have and the lung capacity they have, they could probably
Oh,
hold their breath. I'd just say they held them for an hour. I wouldn't say that, but I know they swim very well.
jeez, I never thought about
You
that.
know, yeah, Canada over in Vancouver Island, there's been just a ton of people on boats that have seen them in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, just as something as simple as a kids pool. When my kids were little, my younger kids were little, I did for the older kids as well. I had an above ground pool. My mom and dad had a below ground pool. And so I had this above ground pool, and the Foots were constantly in that. Drove me nuts because I would spend a whole day draining, and these were like, 14, 16 feet around,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 14, or not 14, but 4 to 5 foot deep. And I would drain that thing. I would get in there and I would scrub it from top to bottom. And then, of course, you wait for hours and hours and hours to fill it, get the chemicals in it. I get it all clean. I get up the next morning and it was clogged with nothing but mud and hair every time. And
Oh
I never
gosh.
saved any of the hair samples, but I mean, there was enough I could have built my own, whatever. It was just insanity. And they were constantly in it, or the side, I'd go out there and the side would be bent down and all the water would be out and flooded in the backyard.
Oh no.
I had a trampoline for the kids one time, and the kids were out there, and it was, in the backyard by the woods, because we lived in the woods, and the kids would go out there. And it was before they had, like the netting to protect them. When they first came up, they didn't have those. And the kids would go out there and they'd bounce around or whatever. And I went to bed one night and I kept hearing laughter coming from my backyard. And I would get mental visions of the Bigfoot kids back there. And then I would hear, they would mind speak to me, tell me not to come outside. They didn't want me outside. And I was like, okay. I got up the next morning and the springs were bent like a pretzel. And I don't know if anybody's ever seen a trampoline. Those springs don't bend easy.
No.
And these things were bent like you would take a pipe cleaner and bend them.
Oh, I'd kick
And
their
I was so mad. And the canvas, or whatever they call that polyurethane that you bounce on for the mat, it looked like somebody had taken a fingernail and just sliced it. Clear slices.
God, they're so destructive, aren't they?
I mean, well, the first night I heard the laughter and the giggles and the mind speak. They didn't bother it.
Yeah.
The second night I heard the laughter and the giggles and the mind speak, and I got up in the morning and it was destroyed. The only thing I can think of is one of the kids got hurt on it.
Wow.
That's the only thing I
They
can
got
think
angry.
of. And they got mad because one of the kids, because the first night there was no damage done. And there was a lot of giant footprints all around it. And it was near the woods, and the trees were all knocked over by where they would have come out, had they come out through the woods at. So I was relatively certain it was them, just because I'd heard the noises that night. And of course the dogs were going crazy. And I just thought, as long as everybody's okay. I tried to tell them, be careful, they can get hurt on it. Nobody listens. And then the next day,
Eric side to them, kind of like they're just really, you don't have like control over their anger and such,
No, and like I said, I knew they were out there. Did I have a visual? Absolutely, I did not. I was laying in bed when I heard the noise, but I did hear at one point one of them scream, and I just thought, well, they communicate with these howls and these screams back and forth anyway, so it's not like I got worked up about it. I just rolled over and back to sleep. But then the next morning, everything was damaged.
Oh, Robin.
And we had only had it like not even a week.
Oh, I would have strangled them.
Oh my God, I know. It's ridiculous.
And the smell, you hear people talking about this wretched like stench from them, and imagine them like swimming in your pools and swimming in these creeks.
There was a few times, and they don't all smell.
Do you think it's a gland that they release something for a protective mechanism, like a skunk?
I have been asked that a million times, and truthfully, I don't know. I don't think so. But I know a lot of people that do, and I'm not going to say that they're wrong because I don't have any proof of it. I do know that I've seen enough of them to know a lot of it comes down to hygiene. And one of the ones that I'm excessively close to, he has always kept himself up very well, and he's always been very clean, but he still has almost like a little bit of a dirt smell now and then.
Yeah.
And he's very, very clean. And the females, especially when pregnant, they like to have like a floral scent to them. But I've been around some that literally have got feces matted all into their hair, and they're filthy and, just absolutely disgusting. I never forgot, several years ago, I saw a video that somebody had posted where it came out of the field and walked in front of their car and into the woods. And it made national news. It was a very clear footage.
Mm-hmm.
This thing had literally feces caked all over its butt, down its legs, I mean, it was disgusting. And I thought,
Earth.
It's like, for God's sakes, take a bath, buddy. But it's like our people.
Yeah,
We
and
have
our
people that
swim in.
yeah. But our people, there's people that just have, even though they bathe every day, they have a certain, body odor. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Now, I do know that. Are you there?
I'm here, just waiting for you to get back on.
Yeah, I'm trying it without the headphones now to see if maybe that's the issue. We've never had it this bad with the anchor.
Oh, well, no, there was a couple times we have in the very beginning.
Yeah, where it broke up, but not to this extent. This is crazy.
Yeah, this
Okay,
is.
Where did we leave off?
So you were talking about how the one Bigfoot was all matted with feces and stuff,
Yeah, and it was disgusting. Like, it stunk so bad. And then, like I said, we have one that comes and visits from out of state periodically, and he smells like skunk. And it's so overpowering. I'm running around kissing the dogs' heads to see whether or not their whole body smells like skunk or not.
Why do you think they smell to that level? Like, what do you think it is that makes them smell to that point?
Well, some of them just like the smell. Like that particular one, he loves the smell of skunks. He just loves it.
Oh, gross.
And then there's females that prefer the floral smell. There's one in Massachusetts I talked to, and she gets flowers from somebody that has a florist and has, acres and acres of flowers for the shop. And she goes and picks the flowers and rubs them all over her.
Oh, well,
but
nice of her.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't. Pat and I have been in bed, and all of a sudden this rank, nasty smell comes wafting in, and it's like, we're like, okay, whoever just walked in shadow form and stinks, you need to take your little hairy, stinky butt out.
Yeah, that's awful.
And it's gone in a moment.
Ones that say they smell like death and stuff and sewage, it reminds me of they kind of just get covered in whatever they're eating, like the dead carcasses and stuff,
Well, I think so. And also too, and this is just a theory, doesn't mean it's right. If they're out hunting and they use some of these other smells, it masks their smell, so maybe the prey doesn't pick them up as much.
Oh.
I don't know if that's correct or not, but I would think, it's just like deer hunters. They go out to go hunting and they put all that, doe scent and everything on them to mask their own scent.
Yeah, well, Bigfoot's taking it too far.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, because they're like, we're smelling. We know they're Bigfoot just by the horrible smell that they're, exuding.
Well, 90% of them, I don't have the smell issues. I mean, about 10% do, and it can be rancid, but I really don't. And the only ones that I really get that I smell a lot, other than a few, just smell, like they're like dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt or sweat. I mean, it's nothing horrific. Now, we get a couple of them in here now and then that, dear God in heaven,
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you a bar of soap, dude, go. But then, like, here we have a lot of swamps in South Carolina, so if they get in the water here, it's all that dirty, swampy water. So when that dries, it's not going to smell pretty.
Yeah, but it would smell a lot better than people are talking sulfur, death, garbage. And
I've smelled a few of them. It is bad. But a lot of times people that smell that, they're not in a situation where the foots feel threatened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I really tend to lean towards that they don't. They can do so many things to protect themselves. I just don't see that that's something that they would have to do. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, what I was saying before when we got cut off was about 3 weeks ago, I was doing a show for Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And his guest had called in sick, and he got hold of Duke Sullivan, who's a dear friend of mine on World Bigfoot Radio. And he said, okay, I'll grab Rob and we'll come on. So he gets hold of me. He's like, come on, Dave needs our help. I'm like, okay. So I went outside to do this show because I didn't want the dogs making noises and, it's like right now you and I are doing this, and I've got Pat, and I'm in the bedroom with only a couple of them, and Pat's out entertaining the rest of the herd out there, trying to keep them quiet.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And
Don't
I
feel
was,
but every time we do a show, my kids all start trying to call me.
yeah, I turned my listener off already. And so I was on the front porch, and I didn't pick up any weird smells at all, but I kept seeing movement in the bushes on both sides of the house. And I definitely saw big black shapes moving between the trees across from the driveway.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and on Dave's show, it's a live feed so you can see each other. And about every 30 minutes, he'll take a 2 to 4 minute break so you can use the restroom, get a drink, whatever. And so he had gone on break, and Duke had stepped out. And so I was the only one there. And I start hearing out of the bushes on the left side. And of course, this was all on air. And I hear this one knock, and then exactly 5 second wait, and then one knock, wait 5 seconds, one knock, wait 5 seconds. But it sounded like they were pinging something metal. It wasn't wood, it was metal. And I thought, what in the world are they doing? And they had been doing this while we were actually talking. And then they continued when the break started. And I thought, I want to find out. And I knew something was over there. I could feel the energy from it, and I could see the bushes moving, but I couldn't really see them. So I thought, we're going to find out for sure if I've lost my ever-loving mind or if it's really them. So they kept doing that pattern, and they had done it like 8 times in a row. And I reached my hand over, and I knocked 3 times on the wood banister, and immediately I got 3 metal pings back, exactly like what I had done.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it went back to the 1 ping, wait 5 seconds, 1 ping, wait 5 seconds. So I did it again, only this time I knocked 4 times. And in response, I got 4 back.
I wonder what were they doing?
They were just playing because they knew I was talking about them.
Okay.
They were running it out. But I thought that was really kind of cool, because if I ever wanted to know if it was really them or not, nothing else is going to imitate me.
Yeah.
And whatever it was, it had to be a good 9 foot in there because of where the bushes were moving. But they were
Wow.
only like 25 feet from me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going on during the podcast. It was crazy. There's all
That is
kinds of things.
hilarious.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Well, the reason I was asking about getting back to the smell thing was I had just had listened to some guy's encounter where he was talking about he had seen a really large one. He was probably like 9 feet tall, and he said that there was absolutely no scent whatsoever. And he said he was just like they were staring each other down, and then when he went to move away, he said all of a sudden it was like he released some kind of a horrible odor, and he just was overcome with it. So
It's
I just,
possible. I mean, I don't rule it out, because they have so many crazy paranormal abilities,
they do. I know. I know.
that I just don't rule out anything, whether it
And
be gas, whether it be just, they're not clean, whatever. I don't
yeah,
rule out anything. I really don't.
the sulfur smell really disturbs me because it that's like a signal of demonic, and that's the only thing that that the people are catching that with ETs, with dogmen, with Bigfoot, with different entities, and that sulfur smell. It's like, boy, that's a little bit concerning.
Yeah, I
With
haven't
some,
gotten that one yet.
yeah,
Thank God. I'm happy I haven't. I will say this, the activity level for them, any of the cryptids, the ETs, it's just off the charts right now. It seems to be gaining speed.
it does, doesn't it, Robin?
I get people that contact me all the time. We know this. It has probably quadrupled. I'm so far behind in returning phone calls. I feel like a horrible person. And, I've got to get stuff somehow more organized. Like, I never really kept like a notebook with everybody's name or anything on it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's too impersonal. I don't do that. Like, when I talk to people, it's because I actually care.
Yeah.
But now it's to the point where I have to, and I've had to start writing down, okay, call this person at this day at this time. I've never had to do that before. And then a few weeks ago, I hurt my hand. And so I was like, for 3 days, I couldn't do anything because my hand hurt so bad. It was like, how do you sit there and focus when all you want to do is cry and have your hand packed in ice?
Yeah.
So and then it's just been something's gone on lately. It's just gets crazy. So it's like I'm trying to catch up with everybody, but it's it's astronomical the amount of people right now that are
Right.
getting contact. And the thing that I love about it is the people that are getting contact, it's all positive. It's all wonderful, loving, caring people. Like
Yeah.
they know who to contact. The ones that have contacted me are just tremendous. And it's all the same thing. It's always, I don't know why they're contacting me, but I feel like they want me to do something. And there really isn't anything that they need to do other than continue the path that they're on. Be kind, be
Yeah.
gracious, understand what they are. They're really working to communicate with people, and they've got multiple people, myself included. There's thousands of people out there that they want, to do that building of the bridge. That's the words that they've used, where you're building a bridge between their people and ours, and it's figuratively, not literally.
But
And that
why now though? Like why is there an uptick in sightings and why are they so like what's going on? Do you think it's, the great battle that they're talking
Oh,
about? Do you
yeah,
think that has something to do
absolutely.
with it?
Yeah, they're trying to they've wanted all along, even the ones that want to be left alone want to be at least recognized for what they are, so people will stop hunting them and
Mm-hmm.
trying to hunt their families. They protect the earth. They, very much into Gaia, and they just want to be let live their lives. That doesn't mean they want to come over and have dinner with you on Sundays. That just means
Yeah.
they just want to be allowed to exist and not have their families live in fear.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I mean, really. And are there ones that want a closer relationship where they,
Robin, did I lose you again?
I'm back.
Well, they're giving us like 10 or 15 minutes to talk at a time.
What is the deal? And now it's not even letting me turn on like the speaker phone or
Oh,
anything.
no.
This is absolute insanity.
I have no idea. I'm just like, wow, you guys, you're just like throwing us off course here. Every time we get into a flow of talking, you just like, oh, I'm
This
just
is
gonna
crazy.
screw
Like
them
I
up.
said, it's never been this bad, never. But just
So
unbelievable.
we were talking about, just why the uptick in this.
Yeah, I think, they're trying to gather people together, and their words were they want to build a bridge between our people and theirs, and that's what they're doing.
Okay.
They've got thousands of people, myself included. They're reaching out and saying this is what they are, this is what they're all about. Yes, there's bad
Mhm.
ones, but there's also good ones, just like with our people. And just trying to let people know what they
Yeah,
are, who they are, and it's basic learning of how to mutually share this planet.
I know we could live
And
with each other if we could do that.
yeah. And so they're doing all of these things, and people still aren't listening. They still aren't believing. And I think what's happened is they're now coming forward, and
Robin, gotta be kidding me.
they're there.
Hi, long time no hear.
I know, but it won't let me put it on speakerphone. And when I've tried it with the headset, it was disconnecting us all the time. This is insanity.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I think this is so
I
funny.
know. It's just, this is the shit that goes on whenever we do anything. But
They really don't want us talking today.
I know. Do you know, I do podcasts all the time, and I never have this problem like this except with you and I. So far I've tried it on my tablet and my phone, and it's doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, they say I'm the only channel that, so far, from what I understand, that actually mixes the whole spiritual thing in with, the cryptid and all the supernaturals kind of blended together. So I don't know.
It's crazy. But I think that's what they're doing. I think they're trying to just bring everybody together. I mean, if we can all work together, we don't
Yeah.
have to be up in each other's faces. We don't have to be having bonfires and sitting down with each other, but we can coexist on this planet, and we can work under, a collective, which is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They have that
Yeah.
collective consciousness, and we're capable of it. We just adamantly refuse it.
I wonder if we actually have similar or the same abilities that they have. We just don't know it.
I think a lot of them we do. I don't think we have all of them, but I do think we have some of them.
Right. I'm just wondering
100%.
how much, because we both, feel that our government has, dumbed
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
down immensely.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what they could open up with human beings if we could actually get close enough to them.
I know. I
To
think it would be wonderful that, it's just, can you hear somebody in the background talking?
No. No.
I swear to God, there's a muffled voice in the background that I can't make out what they're saying.
Oh, that's really comforting.
Oh my God. Crazy. This is insanity.
We're either picking up a spirit or the FBI or something.
Oh my God.
It's like, can you
Dear
guys tone it
Lord.
down when we do the podcast? Just stop talking, please.
I know. Excuse me. Can we have 10 minutes of privacy?
Can you just stop talking?
I can remember like back in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and they had those party lines. And so you would go to use
Yeah.
your landline, and all of a sudden you have other people on them. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, can you get off so I can make a phone call?
Or you just pick it up and listen in to people and wonder who they
I
were.
know. It's like, oh my
You
God,
know?
they thought my life was a trademark. Look at yours.
Awesome. It is so funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
guess I'm just
they've been really off the charts active. And it's not just them, it's everything. Like
what
this,
about, have you seen any dogmen or anything like that
oh
lately?
yeah. Yeah. I
God,
mean,
well, you're
and
always like
I
quite
don't
peaceful.
ever have problems with them. I mean, they're fine for me. And I work with a couple people that have a lot of them. One friend in particular, and they're just off the chain, and they're very kind over there. They're not a problem. We've got the dogmen running around. I've got the Bigfoot running around. We have a werewolf that sits across the driveway. I mean, nothing's changed.
Mm-hmm.
They all seem to be very well behaved. They,
Yeah.
they're sharing space. I know a lot of, some people say they won't share the same space, and I believe them. I believe that in maybe that area that they live in, those particular groups won't.
Right. I do too.
Mine don't have a problem with it. I think
Yours
it
is
depends on
gorgeous.
the location. It depends on your groups. I mean, look at our people. And I always say this, go back and look at our people. You have people that can handle neighbors, you have people that can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very blessed because both my neighbors are nice, but if it was up to me, quite honestly, I'd have 200 acres. I'd be living in the middle of it, so nobody could find me. And then I would be completely at peace.
How are
You
you
know,
feeling lately with your health?
it goes up and down. It's been rough since COVID. I wish I
It's
would have,
so true.
I ran out of that damn ivermectin and that took me down. And it's taken a while, but I think I'm okay. I go up and I go down. South Carolina now is getting hit because COVID wasn't enough. We're getting hit with this flu and respiratory virus. So that's been kind of sucky, but I'm okay. I think, considering how bad I had it and then all the
Mhm.
problems afterwards, I think it's pretty stable for me.
But I mean,
You
you
know,
feel like you're bouncing out of all of it now?
yeah, I go up and down, like out of a
Okay.
7 day time span, I'm good for 3 or 4, and then I'm really, tired for 3 or 4 days, but nothing major. I'm not
I
doing anything
thought of
major.
you. There was like 3 times last week I was doing something, and in the middle of me doing whatever I was like cleaning something, whatever, you popped in my head, and you're not feeling well at times, like some of
Yeah,
the stuff you
there
did
was
with.
2 days last week where I felt perfectly fine. I was exhausted to the point I could not function. And I thought, why?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times when that happens too, and I felt perfectly fine. I wasn't sick at all. But a lot of times, I get pulled out at night and get taken to do all these crazy
That's
things.
what I was thinking. Yes, I was
Yeah.
like, and then the
And
thought I had was, God, I wish they would just leave her alone.
yeah, just, give me a couple
You
nights
know?
off. That's all I ask is, to rejuvenate. And so that generally has a lot to do with that,
Huh.
but other than that, it's been going pretty good. I mean, hanging in. How are you feeling? Are you feeling better? I know you had a rough time.
Yeah, yeah, I had ups. I'm same as you. Like just good days and bad days. I mean, some days are much more energy and you feel great, and other days you're just a little more tired and things hurt a little more. But I mean, everything's okay. It's kind of stable. Like it's
Yeah,
just life. I mean, it's just a day to day grind that we have to get through every day.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah. I
was
mean, I think I'm
the weather
stable.
today. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
asking about the weather today, so I was like, I'm getting in the bus and I'm driving right down there, and I just
yep.
need a place to plug in.
I know. I'm telling you, it's insanity. I just want to get moved back to Michigan, but it'll happen when it happens. I'm still looking for a place, and
Are
you
you still
know,
the snakes down there?
oh, I'm so sick of it. I am
Okay.
so sick and tired of these bloody snakes. We've got timber rattlesnakes. Every time we turn around, there's either one in the yard or somewhere. I've been fortunate that I haven't noticed them in my yard,
Oh,
but I also have asked the Foots to help clear them out. My next door neighbor gets them all the time. My other next door neighbor has the copperheads and the rattlesnakes. My daughter and I drove up the road, and like not even a quarter of a mile up the road, and there was a baby there laying out in the road sunning itself. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of the state.
I never realized people had that kind of problem down there.
Oh, it's hideous. And there's a swamp up the road. There's a swamp. It's not, well, pond, whatever you want to call it, directly behind me that I didn't even know was there. I only found out because I looked at Google Earth. And then right across the road from me is that 200-acre tree farm, and they've got a pond there. So
Oh, wow.
it's like, I think I saw one water moccasin when we moved in, and that was up in my front bushes by the road. And he was no more interested in me than I was in him. He was going into the bushes to get the heck out of Dodge.
The point is
Now,
the pair.
yeah, and my neighbor next to me called me one day. This was not this past summer, the summer before, and her grandson was mowing her lawn, and there's a 7-foot rattlesnake there. It was massive. And she called me and she said it just went into your bushes. And so Pat went outside and sat on the porch and to try to see if it was coming out, because he had a handgun. He was going to pop it if it came out. I
Yeah.
went into town. Janice Carter was here at the time, and we got diesel and came and poured diesel around the property line so it wouldn't come into it. But we never did see it, and even the security cameras never saw it come out of the bushes. So where it went, I have no idea. But
Wow.
so we've been fortunate there. I had one that got under my central air unit about 3 years ago, and it didn't stick around. It was gone. So,
Yeah. You'd think the Foots
but
would eat them.
yeah. Well, they
You know.
did the blue racers in Michigan. I told them I was very fearful of the blue racers because my mom used to have go out to her parents' cabin when she was a little girl, and the blue racers would chase her and her
Wow.
brother. And she said I can remember running to the front porch, and I'd go in and we'd shut the door, and you'd hear those snakes hitting the door. They were so highly aggressive, so I was terrified of them.
Aggressive. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I never knew that. And so when we lived in Michigan, I had said, will you guys please keep them out of my yard? I've got kids. I'm worried about the kids. And right
Yeah.
after I said that, like the next day, they um, had bitten the head off a blue racer and left it for us. And there's a bloody, we never knew where the head was. They must have eaten it. But there's a bloody rock next to the body. So they whacked it over the head, and then where it was bit off, it was shaped like a human mouth.
I'm really surprised because I've heard that, snake is actually really meaty as far as eating. Like
Yeah.
they taste like chicken and they're
Yeah,
real
I've
meaty.
heard people tell me that they're really good.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they don't eat them, you
Well, they
know?
might. I mean, I don't know if they just want to make sure that I knew,
Gotcha. Yeah.
that they had done it, but the head was gone. They bit the head off of it.
Jeez.
I mean, that was crazy. I was like, okay.
Did
But,
you see
they,
that guy? Did you check out that guy I told you to check out with the guy that was he films himself interacting with the pixies? That
I
Sanders
did.
guy?
And yeah, and it was really good footage, but I don't know if it's real or not. I mean, I've
That's
seen
who,
so
yep,
many.
yep, that's what I was wondering too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
it to some degree, it looks like CGI to me.
Okay.
But then I'm not going to say and that it's not, because I've seen so many things myself.
Yeah, he has a ton of them. I mean, he has so many
Yeah.
videos that, and
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching this, trying to figure out if it's real or not. I'm like, is this real? Like, if this is
Yeah.
real, that
I
is
know.
wild.
I would love it to be real. But I don't know. Like I said, when I see it, it reminds me of CGI.
Okay,
But
yeah,
I'm not an expert in that field, so I wouldn't be qualified. But at the same time,
it's fascinating. Like, I
it's
really
fascinating.
wish
It's amazing. And I
I was
went online to
we
see
should
what they said about it.
we should go visit the guy like in
Wouldn't
person
that
and be
be,
like,
yes,
"Listen."
I want to see it. But when I went online to do some research on it, everything kept saying it was fake. But then
Okay,
at times, he's gotten hurt by the little buggers.
I've seen it. Yeah, he's gotten little darts shot at him.
Yeah, so I'm not, and I know that they exist, so I'm not going to say that that's not real.
Yeah, I would love to know. Gosh, wouldn't it be?
I would too.
He's got a really great channel. I mean, it's just, you just
Oh,
sit
it's
there scratching
fantastic.
your head trying to figure out, is this for real? You
Yeah.
know?
If it's not real, he's putting an awful lot of effort into it.
That's what I don't understand, Rob. One video after another. I mean, he's putting a heck of a lot of effort into that.
And he went quiet for a long time and then he
Yeah.
came back out again. And so, I mean, indications are that it's real, but like I said, the actual footage, they really do kind of look like, it could be CGI. But then again, just because it looks like that, it could be just that
Yeah.
something that we're not familiar with seeing. So,
I'll put
and
a
I
link
have,
in for his channel, you guys, and you guys can check out some of his videos. I'm gonna have to, go kind of dig in and see which ones are really good ones, and you guys can judge for yourself and see if you think it's real or not. I would love to know.
yeah, I
I would
mean,
love to know.
for somebody, if it's fake,
He just
I wish to God I had the energy that he has to do it all.
That's the thing that gets me is his age and how, like there's this feeling you get when you're watching it that there's a possibility this could be legit.
Yeah,
It's almost hard to believe it could be legit, like when you're watching it, but then you're watching this and you're like, is this legit? Like,
I know.
is this real? And
Yeah,
then
it's pretty incredible to me. It
it
really
is,
is.
it is.
But
So
yeah,
there's a bunch of little dobbies from Harry Potter running around.
I know, isn't that a riot? But yeah,
It is.
it's been the normal craziness. Like I said, a lot of, and the other thing I've noticed lately is the vocals have changed. They're still doing the vocalizations, and normally here they do them now and then, but they're not real vocal here. But we're
Mm-hmm.
only 7 miles from town, but they do them. They always come from a certain area. There's two places that they come from, and they do them now and then. But the vocals have changed what they're saying. Like, the calls
Mm-hmm.
and stuff are now different. It's a different call they're making. And I have several friends. I have one friend that just gets the most incredible vocals. I mean, of the howls and stuff, it just blows my mind. But
Right.
they're different than what I'm normally hearing. So I don't know what that's all about either. I think that's very weird. And I've asked them several times, what are they trying to, what's the difference? And I'm not getting a response, which they're not normally quite that secretive. So that's a little bit weird as well.
Can you do some recordings of the vocals at all?
The ones here are really faint. My friend has them and he's
Hmm.
got some recordings, but he's not where he wants them. I think he's got um a few on YouTube, but he hasn't got a regular channel that he does it. If he does, I'm not aware of it. I think he keeps it on a private setting. So
Hmm.
if he gets to the point where he wants to get those out, I'll give him your name and you can go
Yeah,
from
that would
there
be.
with it. But it's really telling because everything is just a lot more loud, more prominent, more up in your face. Pat
Yeah.
went to work the other day. He started a new job and he's in this warehouse and they have this window that has this like a fan in this window. But before he even saw the window, he was at work and he drives a forklift and he turned around and he literally physically saw one on top of all these pallets. I
Well,
mean, like
inside,
literally at work, which doesn't
inside.
surprise. Yeah, which doesn't surprise me because he's had that happen before, but it's been a while. And then it came down and it was standing, I think he said it was standing in front of it or whatever. But anyway, he saw it over there and he took this picture and he didn't realize it at the time that there was this window with this fan in it. So he showed me the photo and I said, well, Pat, what's behind there? And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, what is that? He says, I have no idea. And I said, there's actually the head of a Bigfoot. So I enlarged it and I lightened it and you can see the brow ridge and you can see hair. You can't see the rest of the face. So the next day he went into work and he's like, there's actually a fan there with the
Hmm.
window. And I said, he's looking through the fan. Like you can see the fan
Right.
part, but he was looking through the fan. He got a picture of it.
That is crazy. I just heard an encounter with a young girl that was in a high school gymnasium, and over in the corner of the gymnasium, it was dark, and she was seeing a hairy, like almost like a gorilla type man that was growling at her.
Yep. People don't realize they cloak and they
They
bend.
coming into they go
Oh,
into buildings
absolutely.
and stuff.
Yeah, they cloak and they bend the light to be able to do it, and they just simply come in and out whenever they want to.
And
You know,
what you
everybody's like, well,
the
they
haunting?
won't because they're not, we're in the city. They don't care.
No, but how many times have people thought they were having like a haunting from like a ghost or a demon or whatever, and it could actually be like a cryptid, you
Yeah.
know?
And there's been a lot of people that have actually thought that they had, a mental issue or whatever. They were hearing voices or whatever, and it's not necessarily been a Bigfoot, but it's actually been entities. And
Yeah.
that always makes me wonder how many people were institutionalized or
Oh yeah.
took their own life thinking that they were crazy and they actually weren't.
I've thought that so many times with schizophrenia.
Uh-huh.
I have thought just everything in me just feels like these people are actually able to see, things that we can't. And because of it, they're labeled nuts. Like they've got a mental condition. And what if they don't? What if they could just see more?
Yep. And
So
I
it's
think,
I don't.
the psychiatrists, of course, they believe in science, and I'm not knocking that at all. I believe in science as well, and I think it's extremely important. But I think it also we have things that,
Hey, so you were saying that the science that they believe in science, but
yeah, I mean, but I think when it comes to the science, we have to acknowledge that not everything can be defined.
yeah,
And our
yeah,
government doesn't want it to. They don't give the resources out there so that you can blend the two. Like the scientists and the psychologists and those kinds of things, they go basically by what's been taught. And it's never been taught that there's anything other than a certain structure.
I know, I know.
And I think that there's people out there that have literally been misdiagnosed because those doctors are never going to look at another entity messing with them. Are they actually hearing things from another being?
Right.
People are taking
And
their own
for
life, and
people to
it's
see things,
just really rough.
right.
I
Some
think there's a
people
lot
might
of
have
misdiagnosis.
they might have more abilities than other people, so they could see through veils or
Oh
dimension.
yeah,
That's things that are
definitely.
going on, and they just everything. Oh, let's just pump them full of medications.
Yeah, they do. Or let's put them in an institution.
Yeah. Well, there's such a even the agenda. Like I was walking. They just redid our grocery store here, the one main grocery store that I shop at, and they took all of the alcohol out of. They had it at the one end of the store, and they put it right in the smack in the middle of the store. And I'm just like, and the more everywhere I go, alcohol this, alcohol that,
Oh
everything
yeah.
news.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there is such an agenda to make sure people are just
Not
completely
thinking clearly.
yes, yes,
It all
yes.
comes down to control.
Addiction.
Oh
They want to
yeah.
be addicted to some kind of a pill or a substance so that they're out of it. They're
Yeah,
not.
it's really sad. I mean, I think it really is. But people are getting contacted right now by everything. It's not just the Bigfoots, the ETs, the contact with them is much higher than it's ever been.
Uh-huh.
I think that's why it was so distressing to me as far as Ash's movie, which I think he did an incredible job. I think he really did. But it was so incredibly frightening because not really frightening, I guess is a poor word, but
Yeah.
um, the whole situation that happened because not all encounters are like that, but there
Wow.
definitely some are.
Yeah.
And it's like I would love to know what race it is. He did a tremendous job on it. It was heartbreaking at the end. I can't even imagine what he went through. And then
Yeah.
you have to stand back and say how many people are abducted every year that nobody ever hears from again.
Oh, I
These are
know.
only people that have come forward.
Hey everyone, we'll be right back after a quick interlude. Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money, all in one place, for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&A and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. I would definitely recommend this and give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Robin, I can't believe this is happening to people.
I've known it was happening. They actually, the ETs that a year or so ago told me how they do it as far as take possession of people. That's not what happened in this movie, but it was just like unbelievable to me.
I have a video I wanted to send you. Gosh, I forgot all about this. It was a camera, a security footage where two people were sitting outside, and it was a male and a female sitting by the pool, and all of a sudden a beam of light hit both of them, and it showed this woman completely disappearing.
Yep.
It was on security footage.
Those beams are transport services. It's like a transporter. When they did that night in May, when I got taken, they flashed that beam in the room. It filled the entire room.
Oh my God.
And I have that one photo of the beam from a UFO going down on my bedroom.
What is the technology that they're able to use? Like how are they doing?
I really don't know.
And they're so hideous. Like, what do they want with us?
I don't know.
What's the whole
I know they've taken enough DNA out of me to last a lifetime.
I mean, is it just reproduction? Is that what it boils down?
You know what? I know they do for that, but I believe it's got to be bigger than that. I think that no matter what we think we know, that's only scratching the surface.
So do I. I'm just saying, it's just something I threw out there, but it's like you think of many different, things that they like experiments, possibly, food sources. I mean, we don't know what the heck they're doing with people and why. I mean, why can't they just leave us the hell alone?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy. I don't know. It's really bothersome though. It really is. It's crazy that people are actually just, they're going out hiking or they're going camping or they're going fishing or, people are walking out of a bar and they're just disappearing.
Yeah. Literally they are. This is the thing. They always talk about how it's the foots that are taking people out in the woods, and some do.
Yeah.
But that's the least of the worries.
Yeah, I believe that too. I'm sure there's some disappearances from the cryptids and such, but I think that's the most of it.
I don't think that's the most of it. I think there's more coming from the ETs. And I want to be clear though that there are good ETs.
Yeah,
they're not all bad.
You don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad.
Well, that's the thing. There's no disclosure on them, so how do we know?
We don't. And there's no age group, or it doesn't seem like there's any age group for a human being. Like people have been missing from every, walk of life, every age. It doesn't seem. I mean, you could be 85 years old and you're just, abducted.
Yeah. Yep.
Right off your own
farm. It
farm.
doesn't even matter. It's incredible. It really is.
Like, why do some come back or get returned like you do and others don't?
See, that I don't understand. And like I said, I've got different species that are races that I don't even know what they are that want me dead. And if it wasn't for the foots, I already would have been.
Yeah, it's true. It's just mind bending. Like this whole, it's terrifying. I mean, when you think about how unsafe now we feel, that you just don't feel that
we're more exposed than we've ever been.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be. This is the thing. There is just as much good out there as there is bad. It's not more bad than good.
Mm-hmm.
But until we learn how to work together with the cryptids, with the good ETs, whatever, we're really on our own and we're defenseless. Like, we need the help.
Yeah, I
We've
know
done this to ourselves through our own ignorance and through the government's ignorance. We don't know what we can do, and we can do a lot more than we think. And we have to not only come together as a collective, we have to learn what abilities we have to protect ourselves.
God, we're so clueless. It's amazing.
I know.
It's mind-numbing how clueless we are. We are so in the dark. It's just crazy. It's
No,
absolutely
and the
crazy.
people that can give us the information we need refuse to.
And that is a wrap. I'm going to end this here. Some of the rest of the episode that we had taped together just got really echoey, really extremely, and it was just like, some chit chat stuff. So it wasn't anything that was really worth keeping and subjecting you to. So I just, any thoughts you guys have, please send them. Anybody has any experiences, anything that's going on, even if it's dreams, premonitions, near-death experiences, encounters with cryptids, with demons, with, spirits. I mean, no matter what it is, you get a hold of me, and you could, I believe there should be a link on here that you can message me on, and, we can talk. I do have some really cool guests I'm lining up here. I just have to set a date and time for them. I'm really excited about some of the people that are coming on. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will be back soon. You guys take care. I love you guys all. Stay safe and say your prayers, everyone. We're going to need them.